such a warm, wonderful welcome. I see it as a real privilege to share this time with you because, as Scotty will know, the person that is standing in front of you today, sharing life, is a complete polar opposite to the person he started talking to. I'll go into my story a little bit in a little while, but if I want you to take away three things from anything I'm saying, it's... I want to hear better. Oh, okay. If there's something that you want to take away, then take away this. Really care about what you're doing. Because really caring saved my life. That is in no way hyperbole. It is not even a slight exaggeration. I'm being very literal when I say that man there caring saved my life. Woo. So the situation was this. I'd gone to the doctors thinking I had a little bit of high blood pressure. I was closing in on £400 and I was like, I think I might need to go to the doctors. So I went into the doctors, I sat down, expected him to strap me up, take the measurements and say, yeah, your blood pressure's a little bit high, here's some pills, off you go. Now what he said absolutely petrified me. He said, unless we change something in your life right now, and again, being very literal, you can't get your blood pressure down, you can call an ambulance. So it's not change soon, change now. You're not going to make the next year. So I was 35 at the time, and that petrified me. The one thing as well that really cemented it home is that wasn't enough. Don't know whether you know this about the UK healthcare system. With socialised medicine, as we have with the NHS, you can't really get things like weight loss surgery or bariatric surgery, you know, that kind of thing. People beg for it, like, they'll do anything other than, like, work out or change their lives, or even something as risky as that. On the spot, we need to book you in for this surgery. I didn't even ask for it. I came in for like a blood pressure test. That was my situation. Now the reason I didn't take him up on that is because my mother, some years earlier, when she was 33 and north of 450, 500 pounds, like very, very overweight, died as a result of a prehistoric version of bariatric surgery. Like in the early 90s, it wasn't a polished thing. I thought, I can't do that. That can't be the way. I mean, apart from the surgery going wrong and someone passing away at a criminally young age at 33 with 5 children, all now without a mother, she never addressed the reason why she put the weight on. So I knew I couldn't take up the surgery. That's where I started my journey. So the other part of the situation was, because I was horrifically overweight, dying emotionally, physically, any way a person can die, I was experiencing it. Now, I've got a young family, I need to provide for them. I took night shifts, 100-hour-a-week night shifts, because I took my responsibilities seriously, but going out into the world, looking like that, feeling like that, utterly ashamed of absolutely everything. I was hiding away, thinking I need to make a change, just being at the doctors. This is where the caring comes in. Scotty, it was at the time of, was it like 4 months or something before UK launch? UK launch for Beachbody was happening in October 2017. And I don't believe in coincidences. It just came at the right time. I was on the night shift. I work in like TV and film production. So I was guarding like the cameras on like location somewhere. And I was on my laptop and a Facebook ad popped up. And it was Scotty and his wife Gabby advertising the fact that this was happening. I thought, oh, this is interesting. Now, that's a typical UK understated response to, I'm sorry about this, American enthusiasm. Like, something that could save my life, change everything. Oh, that's interesting. So I put my details in, and like full disclosure, there was a lot of adverts at the time, lots of coaches. Every single one of them, except one, I can't even remember the rest of them. Pick a top coach. Probably couldn't be excluded, obviously. Pick a top coach. There was cut and pasted, hey, I mean, you know, glad you're interested in whatever. There was cut and pasted. Dismissed them completely out of hand. That man there took time to respond to my email, and I could tell that he'd listened to what I said. Now, my email, eloquent, wasn't it? It was eloquent, well thought out, beautiful. This is what it was. I'm fat, I'm sick, I'm dying, and I need help. Send. Am I even slightly exaggerating today? That was exactly the response. Him caring gave me hope. Him caring saved my life. So that's it's true. He deserves that. He deserves it. He deserves a cheer.
Woo!
And I'm going to keep going until you cry. That's the importance of caring. So we get into the family, like we've all been talking about, the community. Now, I tried things before, like Weight Watchers or whatever else we've got going on. I keep saying Fat Finders, that's not a thing. Other groups, and just, in and out. I know I can, I do. It was in and out, and I cared, and we moved on, looking forward to the start of the launch. So I turn up to, now I'm a northerner, I don't know if you can tell from the accent, but if you're Game of Thrones fans, London is like Casterly Rock, the Lannisters. North is, someone gets it, North is Ed Stark, so I'm Ed Stark. I turn up to big London, which may as well be the moon to a northerner, really intimidated by it all. Hopeful because of what Scotty shared with me and the journey. But to Park Lane Hilton, quite 5-star, very expensive, utterly out of my budget and experience. I turned up and everyone there, the abs are there, the tight spandex teeth, like everything I'm not. And I stood at the doorway to the end of Sean T's in the distance, like starting to make a noise and do his thing, which was brilliant, by the way. But I'm stood in the door, considering turning around. I don't know if I've told you this. I was stood at the doorway, considering turning, looking at myself, thinking, what on earth are you doing here? Look around you. Look at all these people who are definitely better than you, definitely more worthwhile than you. This isn't, devils in your ear, you're not worth anything. What are you doing here? Look at you. Go away, turn around and go home. I was about to turn, but whenever I tell you something, I'm not exaggerating, there's nothing for dramatic effect. I'm being quite literal when I tell you. I was in a process of turning on my heel when the next person cared. Does anyone know the Stays, Lindsay and Tony? I can't afford to it. It's Tony Stay. Now, he'd touched base on Facebook and had not really lost any weight, 5-10 pounds, which is in the context of £200 needing to go. Not really, I didn't feel like I'd done anything. Just about to turn. Hey, Chris! It's good to, not in the accent, I'm not doing it, I'm rubbish with accents. Hey, Chris, It's good to see you. I'm so impressed with, with what you've done so far. It's really good to see you. And the important bit was, I believed him. So if ever you think, should I speak to someone? I'm trying not to. I have a tendency to quote scripture or just assume people know what I'm talking about. From the overflow of the heart, the mouth speaks. So if ever you feel like you're moved to say something, please say it, because in that instance, saved my life. Caring absolutely matters. It changes lives. So please, I encourage you to do that. So that's how I started. That's how I was experienced, like true care, true community, and that's where that started, wasn't it? It was. I feel like sometimes it's a bit of a boring story. Like it's not dramatic. I don't particularly get a crowd going like Brendan Bouchard, but I can stand here honestly and say those simple things, like what we do, what you do as coaches, it's not complex. Please don't oversimplify it. Genuinely care, persistently care and love, and you'll be amazed at the effect that you can have on people. People look at the Beachbody Challenge and the other challenges as well, with the finalists I was with, they're transfixed by the check, by the money and the stage. Should I? Yeah. It sounds cliche, but the transformation is the prize. Money comes and goes, recognition comes and goes, the pats on the back come and go, but the life you gain, not the weight you lose, the life you gain, tag that right down for free, you can have that. It's true. I'm not here to sell anything, I'm here to share life and to share my experience. That is true. Don't dismiss it as Carl's doing something with marketing. It's a marketing thing, it's clever marketing. Carl, at the very start of my journey, this is the third kindness I was shown, third genuine caring. I was introduced to him, or I was about to be introduced to him in Manchester. And it was a small crowd, and I, being as shy and demure as I obviously am, wanted to stay away from him. Like I didn't want to go and speak to his Carl Deichler. And I was still in the mind of, who are you to speak to Carl Deichler? So the UK executive, Thomas, said, introduce you to Carl. Don't mention the Beachbody Challenge, Thomas. Don't mention I want to win it. Just be subtle, right? Just be subtle. Just say, hey, this is Chris. Hey, Carl, this is Chris. It's going to be the Beachbody Challenge winner. Right. Nice one. That's not as subtle as I hoped for, but thank you very much. And Carl said this to me, which is what he said just then. Now, he said this just then. I was thinking of the date. This is like November 2017. He said, if you win the challenge, that would be great. If you have the transformation, that would be great. What you have to do is fall in love with the journey. You have to be about the process. Now, he didn't say it on stage, and he didn't even say it in front of people. No one was listening. But he cared and does care. He cares. Yes, he's a businessman. Yes, it's a massive company. Yes, it's about making sales. I promise you, he cares. Because at that point, I was no one. Well, you know what I mean, I'm not being. I was no one. Just a guy who probably gets it a lot. He took time to care. That's the power. I feel like when I'm sharing my story, if you look at my social media, this is going to sound slightly contradictory. I don't really like talking about myself. I don't really like being on social media. Again, if you look at my stories, you'll be like, You don't like being on social media, I'm on it a lot, but it's, I know how important it is to share like this. If you can get past that and concentrate on sharing life and caring, you'll see amazing things. So that's where I started. An important thing about my story is my faith. No one really knows what my team name or tagline for my Instagram is 2 coins. Does anyone from me just saying 2 coins know what that means? No? Take it one step further. Luke's Gospel. The widow's offering. Anyone? That changed my life. Sadly, I don't feel like I can copyright it and have it as a thing because I'm not saying, I really can't copyright it. But this is what I would want to impart on you on how I changed my life, how I changed my journey. And I guess it's a bit of a preach. For those of you that don't know the story, one day, Jesus is stood at the back of the temple with his disciples, and people are coming in and putting their money in the offering. And a lot of the people there are making a big show of, here's what I'm doing, here's how much money I'm putting in. Relate this, if you like, to filters or, putting on a persona in social media or whatever. Right? This is the important bit. Because I didn't feel like I could do it. Whilst I'm talking, I'm reliving absolutely everything. So the people are firing and making a big show of what they're doing, and then a widow comes in, unassumingly, walks to the front, drops 2 coins in the offering, and walks out. And Jesus said, I tell you the truth, as he always does. I tell you the truth. This woman gave more than everyone else. Everyone else gave out of their surplus. This woman gave everything she had. And it hit me like a ton of bricks. Because when I was dying in the doctor's office, when I was thinking about my mum passing away at 33, I'm yet to wrap my head around that. I'm 41 now, I've well outlived her. And I look at the people in the room before Tony steps in, I can't do this. I can do my best though. I can give my 2 coins. Anyone can do that. It's not how much you give or how much effort you put in. It's how much you give and how much effort you put in compared to the measure you have. It links into health esteem. It really, really does. To hear him talk about this now is what I lived it. My life now, the fact that I'm even here, sharing this testimony, sharing this life, is a testimony to what we're talking about now. That's the truth. The fact that I'm on stage with a mic, this isn't me. I never sought the stage, I never sought the mic, I never sought the, accolade. I'm a guy from a council estate in Manchester, social projects. Projects. Is that what you say here? I'm a guy from the project with a history of people getting fat, getting sick, and dying young. All the way over here, speaking about life to you now, because my 2 coins and your 2. I'm not trying to put myself here, by the way. I'm pointing to the scripture like this. It's not about me, this. Any aspect of my story, just imagine this is you. And I don't want you to think about my story. Think about how it applies in your life. Hopefully you're thinking about people now that you can share with. You don't have to make grand gestures. Just do your best with what you have, where you are. And that's the truth of it. I'm not a guy who's a motivational speaker. I was genuinely concerned about coming up here and could I relate to people? Could I speak to people? But the fact that I'm here shows that this, the scriptures, the word, everything we do is so transformative. I have been resurrected in every way possible. Every way. I have been resurrected in every way possible. And now, which is the amazing thing to me, is happening with my wife too, because it didn't happen right away, which was hard. You know how having a spouse along, up until past winning, she was not involved, didn't want anything to do with it. But now, like, she's starting to have her own transformations, like 110 pounds down, God willing, going into the Beachbody Challenge. Sorry, are we the body challenge now? I didn't think about that.
I don't know.
What do I say? That competition with the check, that one. Like, she's going for that now. Like, it's amazing to me. She's a small town girl. The prospect of coming to San Antonio, sharing life with you people, is so foreign to what we've grown up and known. Like, I can't even like convey it. And it's all come from simply caring. Someone simply cared way back when to Lindsay Matley, who, I don't want to butcher the exact details of the story, but working behind a bar, expecting a kid, then, financial hardship. Someone cared enough to share with her. She started to transform her life. One kind word on from her in his direction, he transformed his life beyond measure. When you think back to Scotty before, everything now, family and whatever it is you've got going on, polar opposites again. One kind word. One kind word in my direction, I don't die. Big thumbs up, I think we can all agree on that. Don't die. My whole world is transformed from literal dark nights, metaphorical dark nights of just life in general, coming to Salt Lake, going to Indianapolis, everything that's involved in that, night and day. Kind word from me to my wife, small town girl, never been anywhere, never hoped for anything for herself, no identity outside of church secretary, someone's sister, a mum, a wife, whatever titles you can think of. She was never Haley for Haley's sake, apart from now. Don't discard the kind word. Don't live in regret of, I should have said something. Because Lindsay decided to act on something that was said. Then Scotty did, then I did, then she did. And God willing, you'll respond to something I've said today. And so on and so on. Can you just think for a second, see how powerful that is? I can't do a Brendan Burchard impression. But can you see how powerful that is? Right, this is real, this is me. I'm not going to G you up. I personally, because I've lived through it, I think the testimony speaks for itself. And I'm sure you can think of it. I'm sure you've got your own versions of it. And they're all powerful. Even years after winning the challenge, you must be tempted to think you were on stage, you had the check, the acclaim, the transformation. I had imposter syndrome up until this year. I had imposter syndrome, sat waiting for my name to be called. You know when the transformations go up on the screen? I was about to walk up in tears because I didn't think I looked good enough. I didn't look as good as the other finalists. That's the truth. It's so important to be kind to yourself and then extend that kindness to others. It's transformative beyond your own comprehension. But you don't have to understand it. Because this testimony is, whether you feel it or not, because sometimes I don't feel it. However, I can see the transformation in my wife's life. So I know it's true. He might not feel it sometimes when he's tired or stressed or whatever concerns he's got going. He might not feel like it. The truth is, though, what he has, what he does, is transformative. Same for yourself. Same for you. Be kind and gracious to yourself. Let the overflow of the heart, the mouth speak. And like one person at a time, you really will see the world change. Or the marketing bump, Carlos says. I laughed at myself because I sort of joke at it. It's true though. It really is. I'm here talking to you. You're not talking to Scotty about, it's a shame about Chris and he didn't sign up, we didn't. That's it. So there's no like climactic ending, there's no, Ashley assured me that I could come up and literally say anything. As long as you say it in an English accent, it's okay. I would have it and have one of those. So I persisted in the English accent and shared my journey. In truth, I wanted this to be like an introduction to when I put the mic down and come off stage and speak to you individually. We were at Roosters, where it was, talking over like steak and just sharing life together. I don't like this. I would love coming down to just speak to you. So if you've got any questions, please feel free. I want to talk to you. I want to share life with you. And I hope you got something from this.
Oh my gosh, you're the best. Stay up here. You're gonna sit here. Oh, seriously, isn't he amazing? I literally could let's just get I think we're still but that he was attracted to Scotty, because Scotty is also very he can say something that you're like, oh, you just said that so casually. He said hey, I just lost how much, and I just have imposter syndrome, and you're like, okay, you're what? And he just says it so casually, you're amazing, Chris, you're amazing. Okay, so we're gonna do our guy panel. So, freaking excited. So, JD, Jake, Chris, and Scotty. I'm like, who am I forgetting? Will you guys come up here?